big fires or fires that stick in your mind from that year as being a hot shot?
The best fire, well, the really nice fire I was on was down in Monterey. And we went up the mountains there, and around there there's a lot of, still a lot of sequoias. And some of the old ones, they burn on the inside like a furnace, like a jet. They get in a turn into a turbine. I always remember that. That was a impressive fire I was ever on. Manzanita was down there. We got lost, and we ran out of water, and we became a kind of a symbol to the this fire guy there. I said, "Gosh, he was a hot shot who was lost and ran out of water." Well, I was 23, 24 years old at the time, and no big deal. But it was a fun fire. Went up on top, we could see the fog over the ocean. But that was a pretty good fire. That was the biggest fire we was on, and it was so unique. I'd never been there. Next year, I felt bad about washing out McCall, so I went back in '73. In fact, I got my little picture over here.
Of your new man class?
Yeah, 73. Oh, 72. Benavides and Massey were there.
This is his new man class.
Yeah, let's see. I gotta get me a new frame, I think.
That's okay.
They didn't have, they had the dropout, well, the rate, they didn't have very many rookies that year, so there's only 6 of us in McCall, so they, outside of Missoula, I remember, they got all the rookies and went up, I think they went up to Oregon.
So this was the entire McCall jumper contingent.
Yeah, it's 73.
And which one is you?
Let's see. That's me right on the end there.
Right here. Oh, right on the end?
A little bald head guy.
Yeah, he says he's the little bald-headed guy right on the end. It's got the red helmet in front of him.
On his knee there.
Okay, that's Gary.
Massey and Benavides went over to, I think it was Redmond, and they all consolidated all the rookies there, except for Missoula, as I remember, and of course Alaska. And kind of broke my heart. My first year, '73, my last training jump, I sprained my ankle, and I didn't tell anybody. I was a rookie. I don't want to tell anybody I sprained my ankle. But we went over to Grangeville, I guess, on standby. The 1st of July, we were playing baseball. I ran through. I was catching the ball. I sprained my ankle again, and Neil Satterwhite, who was famous, McCall. He came up to me and said, "Mac, I said, I sprained my ankle." I said, that's spraining ankles even worse than breaking them because they never heal. I suggest when you get back to McCall, get yourself off the list. I said, okay, well, please don't tell anybody I'm a rookie and I don't want to be embarrassed. Went back there. Sure enough, the next day I was on the top of the list. I went to and I was on the, took me off the list. They had a fire called Alaska. And that broke my heart. And the guys were up there for, I don't know, a couple of weeks. They came back, they were raving. They said, "Man, we wanted a fire. We got demoted from a pontoon otter. Alaska, they don't have any time limits. You can log 25 hours a day. Cool.
Streets are paved with gold."
Oh, man. Now, not that I'm beating up lower 48, but Alaska, everybody want to go to Alaska, because Alaska, it was out there. There's no orders, there's nothing. You could be anything you want to be, just as long as you don't screw it up with anybody else. So in '74, I got accepted by Al Dutton, who's famous now. He was everybody loved Al Dutton. It's hard to say because your boss, in probably every corporation in the world, nobody really likes their boss, but he was a godfather of us all. And Al was up there, and so I drove my little Nissan pickup, 74, up the Alcan Highway again. It was just great being there. We were in a T-hangar.
In Fairbanks?
And Wainwright T-hangar. They changed the name from Bladfield to Wainwright. And there I met Murray Taylor. I met them all. Some of these guys I keep in touch with after 40 years. Back in those days, we had a Doug, and they just brought in Troy Air. Was Vopars in there, and those are tough. Getting 8 guys in a Vopar was always tough. But over the years, I just kept. I didn't live there yearly. I came back and I moved up to Montana, Kalispell, Flathead, in '76. I was there for 10 years, but I kept getting on my Nissans or GMC, whatever I had at the time, drive up to Alcan to Fairbanks. And a lot of the guys I'm still in touch with, one thing about the jumpers, they have reunions every year, a dozen of them. I haven't missed too many, but I've been to reunions in McCall. I went out to the reunion in Reading, the national reunion in Reading a couple times. Won to Missoula a couple times. Last time I was in Fairbanks, we had our first reunion in Fairbanks. So I drove up to Alcan again to Fairbanks. This was in 2000, I believe.
Well, thinking back when you're going up to Fairbanks, what was different up there? I mean, was there anything really different between the two jump organizations, say McCall and Fairbanks? Forest Service
I
and
like
BLM?
McCall, but not that I'm beating up people. The jump bases are very anal retentive back in those days. McCall was wide open. Al Dutton was there, Big Al we call him, and you can do anything you want to, which he realized, but nobody really messed with him because he didn't want to make Al Dutton mad. Back in those days, there was no limits on fires. You could be on a fire all summer, 24 hours a day, back in those days. And sometimes now this, the height of the pipeline was being built. It was a Wild West up in there.
And the Alaska pipeline.
The Alaska pipeline was being built. Fairbanks was wide open. Gambling, prostitutes, everything was down there. Guys would come back from a fire to go down to 2th Street, we call it 2th Street, 2nd Avenue. And you never see the guys for 4 or 5 days, blowing all their money, gambling and looking for the hoochie coochie girls down there. But Al didn't care as long as you were a good Smokejumper. And every Saturday night in the barracks, now back part of it living in the military barracks up there, 2 to a room. The rooms are kind of small, shared the bathroom with a door next door. And inevitably every Saturday night, Al Dutton got a call from the MP, said, well, we got a jumper in there, he's passed out, can you come over and get him? So he'd have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go get a jumper and bring him back to barracks. But it was a Wild West show back in those days.
So for those of us who only passed through Alaska, I mean, it seemed to me we were out there doing point protection. I mean, the fires got so big sometimes we wouldn't jump a lot of them. We'd go to the ones we could catch.
Back in those days, right around up until 68 when you were there, right around 70s when they had the oil, which meant a lot of these native corporations came in there and they started dividing up the state. They get this vast amount of money, incredible amount of money they didn't know what to do with. So it had the native corporations. The state took over some of the fires, and we up until maybe the late 70s, we were jumping everything in the world. find out that 77 just couldn't do that. So it kind of went into the cabin protection, protecting the pipeline.
Were you jumping on